Okay, welcome to the final day of the Creatress Rising Summit. Thank you so much for joining me for this, my body evolution journey. It's been an absolute joy and a wonder to experience all of these different interviews, and I thank you so much for joining me. Today, for our final interview, we have Leyolah Antara, and she is known as the founder of Kundalini Dance, and she is a pioneer in the field of divine feminine embodiment and transformational alchemy. Today, we're going to talk to her about all sorts of really juicy and yummy content. So thank you so much for joining me, Leyolah.
Thank you for inviting me. So happy to be here.
Yeah. There was one piece that was still missing for me in this my body evolution journey, and that was really when you came along. It was like, yes, these are all the little bits and pieces that I feel like really bring the summit together. And so I'm really excited for this particular interview, because I think it brings all the topics together and also takes us deeper. So yeah, tell me about your journey and how you got started in doing this work and really sharing this work with people.
Wow, just had the wind blow upstairs. Something just blew into the home. Yeah, I started, my journey's been a long one. I started almost 33 years ago now, maybe 36, that I had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening while I was making love to a beloved soulmate partner. And that was the first time that I felt my Shakti fire light up, and I felt the energy of Kundalini run through, my central energy channel and activate my crown chakra. And I didn't even know what a chakra, I'd never really studied chakras, but I'd heard about them, and I remember thinking at the time, this must be what a chakra is. So that was how it started. And then I found that I could also, my beloved was a drummer, and I found that I could also self-cultivate that Shakti energy while I was dancing and move that flow through the dance and weave it through my body and start to experience these ecstatic, full-bodied, orgasmic states while I was dancing. So because I wanted to transmit the work to others, and I was in a monogamous marriage, it was a sacred union container, and we're talking in the late 80s here. So I wanted to give my gift to others, and I was asking a lot at the time. I was 23 at the time, and I was asking a lot, what's my purpose? What am I here? How can I serve people? And I got the message while I was having a very extended journey in a float tank, a night-long meditation in a float tank one night. I got the message, dance for self-healing. This is your path. So I started to, how it's a long and in-depth story, but kept, feeling and moving through this energy. And the time that I really got the torch for my Kundalini dance work was when I was out traveling in the central western desert with my partner, and we were at the time we were collecting Aboriginal art to take overseas. We were trading Aboriginal art at the galleries internationally, and we stopped for an overnight stay in this incredible place called Papunya Chula, which I've come to learn now is where the Kadaichi, the Aboriginal shaman, go to receive their vision. And there's these really ancient rocks there and these really ancient faces, and they look like faces, like Aboriginal faces. And, at that morning, that dawn, my partner and I were sitting together face to face in a meditation. And that's when I got that I received the vision that my work was to connect people to the Kundalini core of the earth and to activate their Kundalini, their inner Kundalini energy, and purify their chakras. That was part of my work, was to prepare people for this the earth's vibration, her energy was lifting, that she was going to ascend into a fifth dimensional star body, and that if we wanted to evolve with her, we needed to open up to that light. So not my consciousness is not I've got to heal the earth, but the earth is healing me. And so this is, this is one of the things that we do, in the Kundalini dance practice. So I started to tap into the earth energy, and little did I know that would take me on a path of deep devotion to the goddess, that I was actually opening up to the divine feminine principle of God, the goddess, that I was opening up. That Kundalini Shakti actually was, well, I didn't even know the word Kundalini. I just felt it like this ecstatic, luminous life force that would, activate my womb and start to ripple my heart and my whole body orgasmically. So I started to have these, these full-bodied sort of orgasms, and from there it started to deepen, that I was actually I was being initiated as a priestess of the goddess, and that was part of the journey, was then, taking me on over the years into understanding that it was an inner marriage of God, goddess, that was really opening up the body, that as she ascended, she was longing to connect to God, and he was also longing to descend into our bodies and find reunion within us. So this amazing ecstatic starburst explosion that occurs, when we merge the ascending feminine and the descending divine masculine energy in the chakras, it lights up the holograms of our divine destiny and supports us to also embody the soul. So that happened, and then, that relationship was a 7-year relationship, and then I moved more into, at that time I started teaching chakra journeys, and I taught chakra journeys for many, many years, and then the work became, they just started deepening and going deeper, and I recognized that I was working with the ancient lineage of Isis, and I recognized that I was, that I had these guides that were supporting this work as well. And the work started to take me deeper into the womb and the healing of the womb, because it was like one of the things was to bring, in the Kundalini dance sessions, we activate, the Shakti bowl, the pelvic bowl, and the root system. We really tend to the roots to open up to this, this incredible life force that comes through from the earth when we open to it. So there was a lot of slowing down and starting to really recognize that a lot of us can't actually tap into the earth energy because our root system is primarily quite fractured and broken and disconnected. And that deep safety, to drop into the body, to feel, that it's okay to feel is not there. So we started to repair the root system, and part of the root system is, the root gates being the yoni, the perineum, the anus, the sacrum, the whole pelvic bowl of the womb, and starting to draw the energy up through the yoni, the cervix, and up into the womb, to sort of start to really create this amazing cauldron of life force. And as we do that, we recognize that there's a lot to heal there, and there's a lot of fear there. And whether we've had past abortions, or whether we've had, painful periods, or whatever it is, that we're carrying the energy of our past lovers. Our womb is such a source, as we know. It's designed to create babies, but it's also a powerful source for creating our life's work. And when it's very full of other people's energies, because it's a psychic sponge, we get cloudy in our vision. We don't quite, get what we're here to do. So I found that as I was mentoring women, part of my work was also mentoring women into their life work. As I created my own body of work, then I went on to really realizing I was really good at helping others create their body of work. So I started mentoring women and initiating other priestesses in Kundalini Dance, because it's a solid map, but also into just their own unique body of work. And part of that became very key. That womb cleansing was a big part of that. And then starting to really, source that deep creative well of inspiration. Often when we are trying to work out what we want to create or what we're here to do, we can get really caught up in our heads. But what I've found is when a woman drops down into her womb space, she really starts to drop into this deeper source of creative power within herself, and her creations become a lot more infused with the power of her soul and her soulful inspirations. So this is a big part of the work that we do.
Yeah, beautiful. Wow, there's so much in that.
I know. I was like,
there's so much in that. Like I need a moment to process, to find my next question. I'm like, wow, where do I want to go from there?
Let's have an experience.
So, yeah.
Experiencing is always the best way.
Yeah.
Yes. What was your next question?
So the womb as a sponge. This really intrigues me. The womb as a sponge, because I think for the last, I've had my babies now, and I've had this conversation with a few women of like, your womb is holding a lot of, past traumas, past lovers, past just emotional, life, the 21st century, all these kind of things that are present for a lot of us today. But I could never really tune into my womb. It's been this kind of this thing. It's like, I know it's there, but what's your experience with getting to know that part of ourselves, to really, because I feel like for me, I know this part of myself quite well, but and this is the whole journey for me with my body evolution, is really getting to know the body part of me very well. And I feel like the womb, the yoni, the anus, the perineum, all of those, everything that resides in that that lower chakra and the pelvic bowl is something that I'm just, it's like I'm just opening the door kind of, kind of thing. So
yeah, I think I think it was part of the patriarchal order. If it's like, if we could connect women from their womb, from their pelvic bowl, which is ultimately our source of deep feminine power and wisdom, that they'll have control over us. So it began, to be, it's a source of pain or childbirth. It's there to serve the patriarchy, but it's not there to really, serve us. And I mean, I've got some pretty cosmic sort of ways of looking at what the spell was that disconnected the feminine from her own power source. But I think to return to it now, it's just about coming back to the practice of the physical connection. When we meditate with the womb, we just go back to the bones, visualizing the bones of the pelvis, the pubic bone, the hip bone, the sacrum, touching the bone, visualizing the bone, and breathing low and breathing deeper, and laying your hands on that point and starting to feel it. And part of, the journey of healing is to do exactly what you're doing, is to state that you have no feeling. Maybe part of the healing of having feeling is to first start with there is no feeling, and then what's beneath the no feeling. Maybe there's numbness. So primordially, there's been a lot of terror in the collective consciousness around really connecting to your Shakti power. Because women were, if you look back at the witch hunts, it goes right back to the days of where women who were really ignited in their Shakti and sourcing from that were, were persecuted as witches and killed for it. And so it became a thing, that mothers, to protect their daughters, will be like, hush it down, keep it closed, clamp it up. So what you're carrying is something that is ancestral. It's an ancestral protection mechanism. So I think once we can recognize that this numbness is here to protect me, was here to protect me, however, it no longer is protecting me. And to find that it is once again safe. And this is where we need the containers, where we create these safe containers for us to do this womb work amongst other women. And that's, your story is the story of so many, and particularly Caucasian white women. I see a lot of black women. There's a really strong black woman womb power movement. It's gorgeous. And because they're so soulful and embodied, they're really advanced in that. But, just more, the whole white Caucasian thing is very, up and out. So to really start to drop down, to find safety, and then, to find the emotions. Sometimes it's grief that I've been disconnected. But like you say, you've had your babies. And most women who have had the babies, that's when they start to, that's an initiation of feminine power right there, that brings you back to your womb.
Yes, so, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so tell me more about like some of the experiences that you or the women through your trainings and those kinds of things have had through looking at their womb and through healing their womb.
I think, often there's that sense of, oh my gosh, it's so full. Like that's one of the big things has been like, I can't feel it because it's so full of other people's energy. This thing of the psychic sponge. It's not only, it's carrying the energy of every man you've ever made love with. And unless you're consciously, if you're still bleeding, actually consciously intending to release that psychic emotional energy from your womb through your bleeding or through your breathing or through process. So when we consciously bring, intention, I'm actually offering through your app, the first thing that I'm offering is a womb cleansing ceremony. And it's a 40-minute meditation or 35-minute meditation or something, but it basically does that. You come out feeling lighter, feeling emptier, feeling more connected to yourself. And then eventually you start to feel ecstatic. So what starts to happen, your womb becomes this barometer. So for me right now, my womb's glowing warm. When I'm talking from that deeper feminine place of wisdom, she gets warm, she lights up. Sometimes we do etheric cleansing. So we elementally clear the womb with fire, water, and you can feel it sometimes, like you get this feeling of, warmth when it's cleansing with the fire or when it's cleansing with the water. You start to feel it like this, like a stream's running through it, and you feel clarified. And then as that lights up, you feel, it's interesting how it's very connected to the voice. So and the yoni, especially, when I use the word yoni for vagina just because it means gateway to heaven, and it's a Sanskrit word and it's nicer. But when you feel that yoni gate, when it's open and the womb is open, you can feel this direct link with the fact that the voice, and the more authentic voice opens up, the more we become, because it is a creative center, and this is an expressive center, these two creative expression starts to open up, and you become much more true to yourself in how you express yourself. You can't just, you know, be the good girl anymore and just do what, you know, you have to do to be liked anymore. Or that's one of the things I really see, and people start to have to make harder choices, you know, and sadly often relationship breakups, long-term relationships where women feel like they're just not really honouring themselves anymore. And these divorces that seem to catalyse spiritual awakenings, it's so often a theme. And
you see that throughout lots of different personal and spiritual development kind of places. If one part of the relationship starts to grow and the other one doesn't, well,
yeah. And sometimes you can bring them in, and that's what I love, because through our practice it's a tantric activation, so the women are sexually awakening, and I believe that that's how the men will awaken. So that's what I try my best to do, is hold keep the relationships together and support the couples to make love. But not often men aren't, you know, they don't want to be taught how to make love, but women's are the leaders in the bedroom. Like, we are more emotionally and sexually intelligent. That is the feminine, you know, area. And that's where, you know, we can really quietly, in a feminine way, you know, activate our men and support them to awaken. And the other area that I find the womb is incredible. Once you activate your womb, you become much more intuitive. You become much more connected to your inner knowing, and you see through, you know, the lies. Like, you see through, you know, particularly at the moment, you know, there's been a lot of veils being pulled from people's eyes around where potentially they trusted the government, or where potentially they just, you know, maybe were believing what they were reading in the newspapers or whatever. But whereas once you get womb activated, it's just like this truth barometer of primordial knowing wakes up. And so that's ultimately what your womb can become, is a barometer of truth and an intuitive guide, a source of creative power, a source of deep wisdom. And that's not wisdom that you've read, but wisdom that you know, that you...
Yeah.
Body
beautiful.
knowing.
Can you tell me a little bit more about some of the other things that you are popping into the Creatress Rising app?
Yeah, so we start with the womb ceremony, and then the other one I'm popping in is a threefold flame activation, a Shakti activation, where we activate I'll just put this down and sit back a little bit so you can see my full body. So where we activate the threefold flame. So the Shakti fire in the womb. So it starts with it's a video practice. So you learn how to breathe, the ovarian breathing, to cultivate the energy in the womb, to light up the ecstatic body, to then light up the flame of love in the heart, and then to light the flame of wisdom in the third eye. And when these three intuitive feminine centers are activated, we have that's when we really are intuitively connected. We've got the deep womb wisdom, the heart wisdom, and the divine intelligence all interconnected. So that's one of the meditations. And then the other ones are some meditations I created outdoors in nature. So one is tending to your roots, it's like a healing of the root system I was talking about, so that you can absorb and collect more energy from the earth. And another one is a chakra activation. So it's a standing one. So you're breathing through, ecstatically activating each chakra, and above and below. So that one is they're the main ones.
Yeah.
So they're just little movement meditations, 10-minute long ones that you can just do The womb ceremony is the longest one, and that's yeah. But I highly recommend that as something that you do first, because you'll just then all the other activations you'll feel them more. You'll feel more energy. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you
And
so much.
you wanted to finish today with a little womb meditation. So
Yeah.
I will
How much
say
time?
thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome, darling.
Um yeah, we can do 5 or 10 minutes. That's up to you. I will say thank you now, and we'll finish inside of the meditation so that whoever is participating can just keep meditating if they like. So thank you so much for joining me.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for the invitation, Tamara. And so happy to reach out my heart threads to a wider community, and always happy to call in more women into the temple. So thank you. So I invite you to close down your eyes now and just start to lengthen and strengthen your breath. Breathing in through the nose and breathing out through your mouth with a gentle ha on the exhale. Relaxing your jaw, relaxing your shoulders, and feel comfortable to, this is a little bit of a moving meditation, so you feel like you can just maybe roll your shoulders a little bit or lift them to your ears and let them drop on the exhale, allowing any tension in the shoulders to fall away. Bringing your attention into your back body as you soften your back body. And starting to tilt your pelvis slightly forward as you maybe placing one hand on your womb space just to make contact with your womb, with your lower belly area. And you can rub it or touch it in a way. Just presencing, making contact, and just letting the space in your body know that all is welcome, that whatever you're holding here, whatever you're carrying here, that it's welcome, and welcoming it into the river of Shakti. Starting to visualize the bones of your pelvis, your right hip bone, bringing, like marking that pathway into your sacrum bone, your left hip bone, and following the bones all the way to your sacrum, to your pubic bone. Yeah, just going to the front there to your pubic bone. And once again, focusing on the deep belly breath. And starting to visualize like almost like a petri dish, like a very thin golden glass dish in the center, like my crystal bowl, like in the center of your pelvic bone bowl. And actually I love what you can do now is you can just take a look at this chalice here, this crystal bowl. And this is very much like your womb bowl. And I love that about this, is if you can imagine inside the structure of your bones, you have this beautiful bowl, maybe not quite as long, maybe a little bit halfway. And then you have the top, you have your cervical gateway where your babies have come out, and that's open in there. And then you have, that's top of your cervix, and then you have your cervical gateway here, and then you have your yoni, and your yoni is opening out, and then it's going to be opening out. So really just dropping that right down and in now, just closing your eyes again. Taking a moment to drop into that point that is your cervical gateway, that place that gets plugged when you've had a baby, when you're pregnant. And bringing your awareness into your cervix. Just bringing your breath, by simply bringing your breath, you are bringing attention, and things start to change. They start to open. Beautiful. And now bringing your breath into your yoni now, the walls of your yoni. Just your attention there. And now I invite you to feel your yoni lips, your labia lips, inviting them to soften and to relax. At the same time, softening and relaxing your physical lips. The lips on your mouth, the lips on your yoni, softening, opening, and relaxing. I invite you to start to open to the centrifugal current of the Earth's magnetic field. It's a circulating, spiraling energy, and I just invite you to also move your body in a circle now. So you're moving. You can take a look at me and just feel what that would feel like for yourself, just to circle. Nothing forced or pushed, it's just it's actually a surrender to a current, a magnetic current. And you're spiraling, and the energy's spiraling down now. You're spiraling down, you're sending your roots down, down. You're falling into gravitational pull downward, pulling you down deep into the central core of the earth, what we call the womb of Gaia, the womb of Gaia Sophia, her golden core, her golden Kundalini core. Om Gaia Sophia. And I found really powerful to do, and it works for many women. We pray and we ask. This is the thing with the intention. When the Divine Mother starts to feel our longing to evolve, when she feels our longing to awaken and embody our souls, when she feels that part of ourselves that is really longing to open up to her true purpose and to live the life of her soul design. And she feels that desire in you is part of a longing that it will open the spark, the creative spark, the divine spark of Shakti in you. So starting to now just feel, I'm going to invite you to place your fingers on your navel, and where your pinky lands, 4 fingers below your navel, that is the point where your creative spark lies, the divine spark of Shakti lies here. And like all flames, you need to light it like with a match. And your match is your breath. That friction that creates that fire, that's your breath. And what we're going to, how we do it is we lightly squeeze the yoni, like you're drawing up the energy from the core of the earth that you've just connected to. And it's coming up through, you squeeze the yoni a little bit, and it's coming up through the bands, the lower band of the yoni, the middle band of the yoni, the upper band of the yoni, up into the cervix. And you sniff it up like you're pulsing it up through the cervix, and it lights up right there in the center. And on the exhalation, that flame has ignited. So just doing that several times. Squeezing the yoni, lighting the flame, exhaling, expanding the flame. Allowing a little rocking with your pelvis. And allowing that rocking. You can bring some movement into that. Bring some waves into that. And now on the exhalation, we're going to imagine anything that you're carrying in your womb space that's not yours. Oh, it's coming out once again with that circulation. And allowing that exhalation and the circling motion to allow, and your intention. I invite anything that's no longer mine. I invite any energies that are not mine to carry to be released. And the earth is a great composter. She is a great transmuter of everything that is not yours to carry anymore. Cleansing your womb on the exhale. And once again, just taking a few breaths, pulsing up, drawing in the golden energy from the earth core. And igniting that flame of light in the womb. Expanding. That's the one. And we pray, beloved Mother, please help me to light the flame of Shakti in my womb space. And now, inviting you to breathe up, imagining you have this inner flute, a central channel through the center of your body. Breathing up through the central channel into this flame of love that exists in the center of your heart. It's your thymus gland here. And we're just going to take 3 breaths from the womb to the heart, breathing up through the central channel. And we use a sipping breath here just to breathe it up. You can wave the body. And expanding the flame of love. And it's here that we connect to the greater field of universal healing intelligence, expanding through your heart. Linking to this field of Creatress arising, linking into all the women who have been participating on this journey, and linking into the greater field of so many women on this journey of awakening at this time, feeling the rising of the feminine and allowing this energy current to carry you with a wave of divine grace into the fulfillment of your unique creative potential. And just bringing your attention up now to the sun, to the central sun, to the descending current of Great Spirit. Breathing that light down through your crown chakra and down through the central channel and to your heart flame to meet with the divine feminine in your heart. And feeling their union as we enter into a beautiful ocean of love here. And softening back down into your womb. As you seal and complete this meditation now, and landing rooted and connected to the deep source of your feminine power and wisdom. Namaste, beautiful women.